Me by K.R. Alexander, Chapter 13. Even after the creepy skeleton incident, we got right to work. Patricia's taunting has lit a fire inside of me, one that a few unexplainable skeletons can't get in the way of. My dad's bring their pickup filled with all the boxes I sorted through and loaded up before bed last night, and my friends and I immediately get to unpacking and organizing. Tanisha takes over the haunted graves, setting out the tombstones and the pathways amid piles of pillows covered in fake grass and red leaves so they look like rolling hills. The skeletal hands reaching up through the debris is a nice touch. Julia wraps all the pillars in cardboard and tapes and papers, turning them into gnarled tree trunks, complete with grasping branches and animatronic ravens, and I take the swamp, one of the more intensive sections of the graveyard. It's just a kiddie pool we got on clearance at the end of summer, but I've spray painted it black and lined the outer edge with foam and dirt so it looks like a swamp. Thrown in a few air pumps from old fish tanks, some water, and a bit of dry ice, and voila, a bubbling, steaming pool of muck. At least I hope that's what it will look like. Right now, it just looks like a badly painted plastic pool. We have music playing in the background, but unlike all the other times when we hang out, we aren't singing along or talking. We're in work mode. There are only a few hours to get everything set out, and that means there's no room for messing around. I grab a hose and start filling the swamp from a spigot in the wall, then move on to my new addition, a gazebo. Really, it's just a few pieces of wood I'm going to paint white, but it will look like a little hut when I'm through. A shadowy archway with just enough space to hide the ghost bride, an archway the guests have to walk past to exit. I've had the image ever since waking up this morning. It will be the last scare the guests encounter, and I want it to be good. They'll walk past, and the ghost bride will leap from the shadows with a vicious wail. I've already started writing a script to tell the guests as I guide them through the cemetery. The story of the ghost bride will be front and center. I just have to figure out how to get her from Mr. Evans' care, and how to convince my friends that it's a good idea to do it. I kind of doubt that Patricia sabotaged us last year, so it's okay that we stole a prop this year. We'll do it. I did some reading last night, Julia says. Oh, Tanisha chimes in. You finally learned how? Ha ha, Julia replies. I was reading about the bride, the one whose dress Kevin tore up yesterday. That makes me really pay attention to their conversation. I didn't do anything to the dress, I called out. I can feel my pulse in my chest the moment Julia mentions the ghost bride. I feel like I was going to be sick. Right, you just smashed her head apart. Much better. I look over and catch Julia rolling her eyes. Anyway, I was reading up about her. It's a really sad story. Did you know that the family didn't just keep the wedding dress? They kept a mannequin dressed in a gown just because they couldn't bear letting their daughter go. Some people even say she was buried in the dress before her parents took it back. It's so sad. That's not sad. That's weird, Tanisha says. And creepy, but creepy in what were you thinking sort of way. I don't know, Julia says softer. I thought it was sort of sweet. They wanted her memory to live on. You should have seen the pictures. She read the same article as me. Of course she did. I swallowed. They've brought it up. Time to see if they're on board with this change of plans. I think it's a good story, I say. I mean, it's really creepy, and it happened right here in Happy Hills. Honestly, I think it would be cool if we had her in the exhibit. That would really creep everyone out, especially if they knew the story. No way, Julia says. That's just wrong. We should leave her alone. Leave her be. What do you mean her? I ask. It's just a dress on a mannequin. But she was buried in that dress, Julia says. Doesn't that creep you out? Yeah, I say. I look at Tanisha when I say it. I can't read her expression at all, but that's the point, isn't it? I mean, if it scares me. No way, Julia says. I'm not going to be in the same room as that thing. I sigh. A part of me wants to back down. She's right. It's creepy and it's probably disrespectful, but the rest of me refuses to give in. That part tells me it isn't disrespectful at all. I'm putting her back on display, introducing her story to an entirely new group of people. Isn't that better? Isn't that better than having the mannequin locked away in a dusty storeroom? Patricia's face floats in front of my vision, and that squashes any thoughts I might have had backing down. I know the Ghost Bride story will win us this competition. I don't want to lie, but it's clearly the only way to win. It worked for Patricia. Fine, I say. I lower my head, but I want to do a Ghost Bride anyway. I think it's a good story. I'll just get a dress from the costume store. I think I might have a spare mannequin in storage. Fine, Julia says. Just as long as you promise it won't be the same mannequin that thing creeped me out. Promise, I lie. Tanisha catches my eye. I know that look all too well. She knows I'm not telling the truth. Thankfully, she doesn't call me out on it. We get back to work. Every once in a while, I catch Tanisha looking at me, as if she knows that there's something creepy going on, as if she knows that the Ghost Bride is part of it, and I'm intent on bringing the story back to life.